AmFam, let's play with some new Natasha Denona products, shall we? I have here her new concealer and, of course, the Yucca palette. Let's get into it. First things first here, I'm just going to go ahead and throw on my bronzer situation. I am loving, loving, loving the Rare Beauty bronzers. I have been using them on my clients. I've got like 4 different ones in my client kit. The one that I am using is one of the new shades called On the Horizon. I used to have Full of Life, however, it was too red on me and it ended up looking like a blush, and I don't like that red look on me. So I was very happy when she came out with these. The reason why I am putting on cream bronzer first is just simply because I have not been wearing foundation like that. It is a little bit warmer, but just, I've talked about this previously. My face, I feel like I look better without the foundation. So that's just where I'm at right now. I do wear my foundations. I have a couple, like my Dior is my go-to right now if I am gonna wear foundation. However, this has been just fine for me. So we have our bronzer on, being a little bit mindful of my placement because I am hella lean right now. I am in the thick of my competition season. If you guys have followed my On a Mission series, then you already know what's happening. And if you're new here, hey, what's up? My name is Amber. I'm a makeup artist and I am also a bikini bodybuilder. So that's why my face is looking super lean and I look like a crackhead right now, but it's okay. It is okay. All right, so with her concealer here, I ended up getting the shade P8, and I'm glad I went into store first because the shade that I had picked out online, that shade was not going to work for me. I'll throw up all of my little shots that I got while I was in store, but I'm going to just place a little here. Go ahead and blend it out. I have been thoroughly enjoying this concealer. I've had it for over 2 weeks now. Natasha Denona in the past has not been known for complexion products. I know she had a concealer a while ago. I did test it out because I'm a huge Natasha Denona fan. I honestly haven't bought anything from her in a minute just simply because nothing was speaking to me. So when I saw these things, I was like, all right, new and improved complexion. We know she bangs with eyeshadows. Like, and I'm not even talking about the color story because I feel like no matter your preference of color story, there's something for everybody there. Her formula is consistent no matter what palette it is, versus if it's her mini palettes, her mid-size, or the large ones. It's just consistent, and I appreciate that because a lot of brands, they tend to struggle with the consistency of their palettes. Like, let's say if they have a smaller palette or something that tends to be limited edition or a holiday collection, the quality seems to be not what it once was. So the fact that she is consistent with her quality, no matter what size her eyeshadow palettes are, that is amazing. And I meant to put on my blush before doing this, but that's okay. So as you can see, blends out like a dream. I love this shade. It's definitely got a little bit of that brightening aspect to it, but it's not so bright that I feel like, oh my goodness, that was way too much. So let me throw on some blush real quick. I have been really enjoying my Natasha Denona Yummy Skin blush in Jubilee. We are starting to hit the pan. Amber P uses her items. And then I'm just gonna blend that concealer. Typically, how I do it, I just got ahead of myself. I do my bronzer, I do my blush, then my concealer. That's how I do it on my clients too, because I have found that with that technique, it just gives everything a seamless blend. And then once I have everything on, I'll go back in with my foundation brush, the brush that I used for my bronzer. So my technique, I use a lot of the same brushes for certain things, especially complexion products. So if I was wearing foundation, I would have used this brush for my foundation. I would have used this to blend out my bronzer and to blend out everything else at the very end. That's just my technique. Of course, there are so many different techniques. There's not a right or wrong answer, just find whichever one works best for you. All right, then we're gonna go ahead and set that with some Cherry Blossom by Huda Beauty. I like to focus the majority of the product lower first, and then whatever is left, take that up. The reason being is because that just keeps that under eye area from getting too cakey. And then of course, be mindful of how much concealer you were applying up under your eye. Of course, everyone's got a different under eye situation. I think a lot of people tend to think that it's the concealer that's creasing, and while yes, that can be the case sometimes, but I feel for the majority of the time, it's just because you applied too much concealer. So less is more and more is more. And then to set the rest of my face, I'm going to go in with my Laura Mercier translucent powder in Deep, since I'm not wearing foundation. If I was wearing foundation, I would just use a yellow powder to set. However, since I'm not, I can use this one. The reason why I don't use Deep to set my foundation when I'm wearing it is because this does have a little, just like the slightest hint of color to it, which is nice. However, I have found that anytime I have used this to set my foundation, it alters my foundation a little bit and makes it a little bit darker. So that's why I don't use this particular tone to set my foundation. And that's just going to also be dependent upon your skin tone. Like if you're deeper than me, then yes, you can do it. But if you're my skin tone or a little bit lighter, it'll probably end up like just altering the tone of your foundation a little bit, and it can throw things off. All right, and then my current favorite bronzer, I'm gonna do a video on this really soon as well, is the new MAC bronzers. I have two shades. I have this one. This is the matte one for everyday. And then I have a radiant one, which is in the deepest shade. And I use that for when I'm competing because I need to be bronzer with the tan that we have to put on when we get on stage. And yes, it does not matter if you are black, how deep you are, you still need tan. In fact, I still have some tan on me. See? I'll show you. Can you see it down here? I like this shade. I have matte golden. I have matte rich golden. I like this one because it does not pop off too red on my skin tone, because I'm just not into that look. And then I'm going to take some of my Dior blush in Rosewood and just intensify that a little bit. I don't know what's happening. I'm having some issues with this one. Like, it's almost like it's not coming out the pan properly. I've had to scratch it. I think I'm going to get another one just because I really like the shade. Like, I don't have that issue with my cherry. I don't know what happened here, but it's like it's really hard for me to get out for some reason. And I'm not sure why. All right. Then I'm gonna give my face a spray. Alright, so I'm not even gonna make an attempt to pronounce these. Going in with this shade here for our transition color. Now I'll go ahead and tell you, formula is consistent. You get your typical Natasha Denona fantastic formula. Now, color story. This ain't gonna be for everybody, all right? And that's just that, and that is okay. I think that is something that a lot of people tend to forget whenever they see a palette, a color story or something, and if they don't like it, guess what? There are so many other palettes that she has that will probably speak to you, and that's one of my favorite things about Natasha Denona. Like, she's got variety. So if you're a neutrals girl, if you like more of that warm berry tone, if you want something that's cool tone, like, she's got it. If you want something that's a little bit more edgier and grungy, so everything ain't for everybody. And I really wish that we could get to a point, just not even in makeup, but just in life. Like, just because something isn't for you, it doesn't mean that it's a bad product. So if you do not like the color story, and I can go ahead and tell you right now, don't get it. You don't need it. All right. Then what do I want to do? What do I want to do? I want, you know what? I want to take this shade right here. And we're going to put this all over the lid. When I do eye looks, it's always off the cuff if it's on myself or on clients. Because anytime I try to like plan it out, it never goes the way. So when I can just get in my flow and just let my creativity do its thing, the looks always turn out way better. So if you follow me on social media and you ever see like any of my looks I do on my clients, they are always off the top of the dome. I never plan anything. And I'm just going to take that same, going back, blend. I took that down a little too far, but that is okay. We can fix it. This shade right here. Yep. We're just going to pop that right on the center. Ooh, that's pretty. I love that. I love a glowy eye. Then just need a little something on that inner tear. Let's go in with this shade here. Ooh, well, that was more than a little something. All right, I was not expecting that to pop off like that. Okay. Okay. Wow. Just took some of this color and went over it because I wanted to bring that down just a bit. Okay. Then, same thing. I'm going to take this shade here. Trying to decide if I even want any liner on the top, because I'm kind of liking it as is. I'll do a little bit. I was gonna do my green liner, but I don't think I want to do that. Let's just do just a little bit. Don't want a wing today though. Just want the eyeshadow to speak for itself. Like, that's one thing I never understood whenever I watch girls do these beautiful, beautiful eye looks, and then they get to the liner and they make the liner so thick that it totally takes away from all the work they did on their eyeshadow. I'm like, ma'am, you just spent all that time doing all that work and now you just blacked it out with this thick liner. Okay, so I am going to go in with a little bit of a green liner on the waterline just to give it a little extra pop, because I felt like I needed a little something there. It was looking a little incomplete. Yeah, there you go. This one's by Lancome. There we go. That looks better. That looks better. All right, so let's talk about it. Man, bad hair day. Is it just me? I never like my hair when I first wash it. I like my hair best day 3, day 4. Like, the dirtier it gets, the better it looks. Anywho, not a hair video. We'll do that at another time. But let's talk about it. The concealer, I love. She finally nailed her complexion products. Goes on easy, nice and smooth. The shade selection, there is a lot of shade selections. However, for this particular one, because she does have some interesting undertones, I would encourage you to go into the store and get yours. I picked mine up from Ulta because Natasha Denona is available at Ulta now, but go in and look at it and swatch around, because I'm typically pretty good at picking my foundation shade or concealer shades online. However, like I said, because the undertones are a little bit more interesting for her, I would definitely go in and swatch it. But I like this. I don't have any issues with it creasing on me. It goes on smooth, and I like how it brightens the under eye just enough, but not too much where I feel like, whoa, that's aggressive. So concealer, slam dunk, love it. The Yucca palette, this is not for everybody. If you do not like the color story, don't buy it, period. That's just what it is. As far as the formulation, you get your traditional Natasha Denona OG fantastic formulation. Who is this for? This is going to be for the girl that likes color, maybe a little bit grungier. If you like green, you are going to absolutely love this. It's almost giving like Safari and Gold, like if those two palettes had a baby. So if you already have Safari palette and you already have the Gold palette, then you probably don't need this one. I have Safari, but I never got the Gold. So I was like, you know what? I hadn't purchased eyeshadow in a really long time, and I definitely haven't gotten anything from Natasha Denona in a long time. So I'm a fan. Is this a palette that I would use every day? No, it's going to be very dependent upon my mood and also what I'm wearing, because obviously the color story. So those are my thoughts on it. What are your thoughts? Are you gonna try? Are you gonna pass? And I also wanna know if any of you have tried the concealer, because I really haven't heard too much buzz about the concealer, which is unfortunate because it's a good one. I'm into it. So down below in the comments, leave me your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching. Keep it simple, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.